All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something most of us keep pretty private, our sexual fantasies. What are we really thinking about, and what does it all say about us? For the longest time, this one idea from Sigmund Freud pretty much dominated how we saw sexual desire. He basically said that fantasizing was a sign that something was wrong, that you were unhappy or had some kind of deep-seated psychological issue. But what if Freud was just wrong? Let's push aside those century-old theories for a minute and see what actual modern science has to say about what we secretly want. And trust me, the answers could really change how you see your own inner world. So let's get right into it. Historically, the problem with desire wasn't our actual desires, but how they were judged. For decades, psychology itself kind of created this culture of sex shame by labeling totally normal wants as paraphilias, basically mental disorders. I mean, just look at this list. Things that so many of us might think are, just part of the fun. Wanting something new, a bit of dirty talk, even something playful like using food. All these things were technically seen as signs of a disorder. It's no wonder this created so much anxiety and shame about things that are actually, pretty common. Okay, so to bust through all that stigma, you need cold, hard data. And that's exactly what we're going to look at now. This brings us to a landmark study, the biggest and most diverse survey ever done on American sexual fantasies. So get this, over 4,000 people took part, 4,175 to be exact. That's a huge number, and it gave us this incredible, unprecedented peek into the human imagination. For the first time, we had a real scientific baseline for what people are actually fantasizing about. And this wasn't just some small niche group. We're talking about people from all different backgrounds, all different sexual orientations. That's what makes these findings so powerful. They're really solid and give us a picture of the wider population. All right, so this is the juicy part. What did all that data actually show? What are we all secretly wanting? The results are really, really fascinating. Okay, so the top 3 big themes might not be what you'd expect. They are multi-partner sex, like threesomes, BDSM, and a huge desire for novelty and variety. Yeah, things that a lot of people used to think were kind of fringe. Turns out they're actually mainstream fantasies. Now, here's something that just completely flips a common stereotype on its head. When it came to BDSM fantasies, women actually reported having more of them than men did, in pretty much every single category. Suddenly, the whole 50 Shades of Grey phenomenon makes a whole lot more sense, doesn't it? And hey, just so we're all clear, when we say BDSM, it's not just one specific thing. It's a really big umbrella term. It covers everything from power play and being tied up to the whole idea of mixing pleasure with a little bit of pain, all consensually, of course. That theme of novelty, it is absolutely massive. Get this, a staggering 85% of people in the survey have fantasized about using sex toys. It just goes to show how much we crave new sensations. And the most common things people imagined? Props you might associate with BDSM, like blindfolds and handcuffs. And this whole novelty thing goes beyond just toys. It's also about new places, like the thrill of having sex in public where you might get caught, or creating brand new situations through role-playing. It's all about one thing, changing it up. Okay, so we know what people want. But the next big question is, why? Why these themes specifically? It's not just random. There's some really cool psychology going on here. One of the big explanations for why we crave variety is something called the Coolidge effect. And yes, it's a real scientific thing, and it's named after a pretty funny story involving a former US president. So the story goes like this. President Coolidge and the First Lady are on a tour of a farm. Mrs. Coolidge sees this one rooster that's very busy with a lot of hens, and she asks the guide to point this out to her husband. When the president heard, he paused and just said, "Tell Mrs. Coolidge that there is more than one hen." It's a little dry, maybe, but it perfectly captures this core part of our psychology, that powerful built-in drive for novelty. So what about BDSM? What's the psychological pull there? Well, for a lot of people, it's a way to get out of their own heads. It's like an escape from that constant inner monologue. that anxious, overthinking part of our brain. When you're focused on intense physical sensations, it can actually quiet down insecurities and force you to be totally in the here and now, almost like a state of mindfulness. Okay, so let's bring this all together. What's the big takeaway for you and me? All of this research gives us a chance to build a totally new and frankly much healthier idea of what normal even means when it comes to desire. You know, so many of us have these secret worries, right? We wonder, am I weird for thinking this? Or does this fantasy mean my relationship is doomed? But what this science does is it just flips that whole script. It shows us that having a wide range of desires is the norm. Fantasizing is healthy. The real problem, a lot of the time, isn't the thought itself. It's the shame that we've been taught to feel about the thought. So here's what you should really take away from all this. Your desires are not a bug. They're a feature of who you are. Diversity in what we want is the rule, not the exception. And once you understand the science behind it, that knowledge becomes this incredible tool for self-acceptance. And for those who want to, it can even be a path to better communication in a relationship. Ultimately, the most important thing to remember is this. Normal isn't some narrow box you have to cram yourself into. It's not about being average. It's about being you. It's about recognizing the incredible, diverse landscape of your own mind. The real question is, what will you do with that freedom?